Hello everyone, happy Friday. Woo, 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 woo. Dr. Stephanie, aka Simon Creatrix, is in the house. All right guys, so I've got a few things that I want to share with you guys on this fucking glorious Friday. First things first, fucking real talk. Been working crazy style with the Huntress, Demon Slayer, Zombie Demon Slayer. That shit is for real. I've been working in those realms, in the fields, slaying the fucking demons. Let me know when you get on. Hands up, have you been aware of this? There's a few, I've been talking about this for a while. There's a reason, guys. There's a reason why that K-pop Demon Slayer Huntress, whatever it's called, which is a fucking epic movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Why it in less than 2 months, or in 2 months, is the highest watch, over 2 million views on Netflix. There's a reason why. So this energy is for real. Like, part of some of the astrological rites of passages, in specific, the planet Mars, has been traveling through this very special portion of the Milky Way galaxy. It's known as the Via Combusta. And it's a huge rite of passage for anyone, women in particular, that vibe and or resonate, identify as huntresses, priestesses, mermaids, dragons, because it's this portion of the sky that for thousands and thousands of years, like back in the day when, like, going to the high priestess, like the Oracle of Delphi, like all of those things, like that was a way of life. If a child, a girl, was born during this time of the year, which spans from Virgo to the beginning degrees, like now, of Scorpio, she was taken away, like from birth, and lived in the priestess temples to be trained as a high priestess. So this is something that is, like, I'm getting all of the chill bumps right now. It's huge in the collective, for women that resonate, like that this is carried in the bloodline, because there is a huge rite of passage that is happening right now for women in relationship to men, in relationship to masculine energy. And both the goddess, so Venus, and Mars are going to be headed in the underworld together at the same time. I spoke about this inside of my membership, which is closed now, but I still do this work in the STARDISCO Atelier, my formerly known, the Star Lab and Studio, formerly known as the Apprenticeship. That this doesn't happen all of the time. Like the Venus and Mars aren't always together in the underworld at the same time. And so this is rare, and it's unique, and it's something to be aware of as we get closer to that time. And because it's going to have a huge effect on relationships, and just relationships in because you're in a relationship to everything in your life, meaning how you operate with your feminine energy, your magnetic receptive energy, as well as your masculine energy, your dynamic and projective energy. So I wanted to talk about this because that's going on, right? Like, this is, for thousands of years, has been the most feared portion of the whole Milky Way galaxy. It's called the Via Combusta. So Mars is like doing his thing through that, but then we're also in very early stages. For those of us that are super, super sensitive and attuned to energy, you're already feeling it. We're in the eclipse window. And so, I have a whole other training, several trainings, by the way, all on the eclipses, and how I talk about the eclipses as being wormholes. They literally are a rip in the fabric of time. And so what quite frequently happens during these portals is that it lets in, there's more entities, there's more of these darker forces and or spirits, even like vampires and werewolves and succubus and things of that nature. They're in the field, right? They're in the spaces. And so I'm just curious to know like where everybody is at with that, because definitely doing some of that, you know. And I've been working, by the way, if you didn't know, I have 3 spaces left for my rapid fire Telegram coaching. It's a special, this is like limited time, limited spaces that I'm doing just for this eclipse portal. And it's rapid fire Telegram coaching with me. It's 4 weeks, 1 day, 1 hour a week for 4 weeks. I've got people that have opted into doing like the full 6 weeks because they're like, I want to do the whole fucking eclipse season. It's $400. It is like, if you haven't seen it, people are already getting results before they're even signed, like before their first fucking session with me. So like in the conversations of like, hello, already things are shifting. And then we just recently had somebody that got $1,000 like right after her very first session with me. So this is available. This is just like just another Tuesday in my world. This is just how I roll. This is the magic, you know, as we say, magicking. So if you want to claim that, and or if you have questions about that, and or you're feeling the eclipse, you want to work consciously with this eclipse portal, which is, by the way, on the Virgo and the Pisces axis, send me a private message. Okay. So I wanted to talk about those things. And first, before I get into the 3 Virgo styles that I see and that I work with. And I also like something that it's just, if you remember from last week's love stream, I spoke about like one of my quote unquote pet peeves is like the misunderstanding of astrology and sun signs and, you know, and that being a thing. And so I've been seeing this also, whereas like there's all of these people online, and, you know, I say this with love because this is just a thing. This is a thing, the times that we live in, where the part of the Aquarian age and or moving into the Aquarian age, right, is about having access to so much more information. It's really about the emancipation. Clock it. I'm getting text messages. The emancipation of the human race, of the human species. And so part of that is the massive, so much information that is available to us. But the shadow aspect, or one of the things that happens with that, is that we see, you know, so many people, it's like they learn about something yesterday and then they're popping on today and they're trying to teach you about it and tell you about it as if they're, you know, they've been studying it for years and or they're a master on it. And what quite frequently happens with that is that they don't know what they're talking about. They don't, you know, and I want to say this, like, this isn't throwing shame on like wanting to like be passionate, right, about what it is that you're learning, and then wanting to monetize that and wanting to share that with other people. But it's like people are sharing wrong information, right? And then the whole industry, especially like the online coaching space, mentorship space, things like that, one of the reasons that it gets a bad rap and or people have quote unquote negative experiences with it, and then they don't ever want to, they don't find a guru and or a quote unquote mentor that they can trust and or work with because they've had all of these bad experiences, you know, paying whatever they're paying, you know, and there's a huge spectrum of the scale here. I talk about this, like, you know, I've had people who have dropped easily $30K on like a business mentor for 3 months and having it be even guaranteed, and then they didn't get the results, they didn't get the ROI. They get on a 30-minute conversation phone call with me and get more in that 30-minute conversation than they got in the whole a free consult, by the way. Like, that's happened too. That has happened too, legit. Which is, you know, and part of that is like, you're not as intuitive as you think you are, right? Like, and I just say this is not to toot my own horn. This is just to share with you that I've never, ever, ever gone under mentorship where I have not gotten my ROI. I have not gotten my money back, my ROI from the experience, because that's the result of my intuition, right? Of being discerning and knowing. And this is part of what this whole Virgo energy, as well as the rite of passage that I was referencing with Mars through the Via Combusta. It's more specifically the constellation of the Virgin, which Virgo is a part of. Constellations and signs are different things. But discernment is a big. Intuition and discernment is a huge aspect of the astrological energy that we're in right now. And so when you don't have good discernment and you're not as intuitive as you think you are, you'll hire coaches and have experiences and spend and waste thousands and thousands of dollars with coaches that then you say, like I didn't get my money back, or they ripped me off, and or I didn't and said with love, that's on you. You chose, right? It's like you chose to invest and spend your money on something for whatever reason. And so like there's always an opportunity for there to be a learning lesson from that. If that's you, if you've ever had a bad experience with a coach, with a mentor, and in your investment, it's because you didn't choose wisely. And that in and of itself sometimes is a value in and of itself, because if you're really honest with yourself, that's where you're at. That's actually where you're at. That's why you didn't get the results, right? It's because you don't even have the skills necessary to discern what is correct or incorrect for you. And there's no shame in that, right? Like, we're here to learn. So by all means, learn. So, and this is also why I say anybody who insists on being their own guru, who insists on being their own teacher, guess what? You're only going to learn what you know, right? And sometimes that's good, because there's a lot of people talking things, but they're not walking the walk, right? It's like there is an integration, there is an embodiment, right? And for this whole sphere, right, that we're talking about here, we're talking about Virgo. Like, that's really like for this live stream, for this past, like the last live stream, the live stream that we're in now, the eclipse season. Virgo is an earth sign. So it's about what is tangible, what is real, what is made manifest, what you can eat, what you can smell, what you can touch, with all of the five senses going on. Virgo is the ultimate material girl. And so now this is going to weave us perfectly into, I saw this, and I've been seeing this, just like a couple of times, where there's a lot of people talking about, are you feeling like the shift in the energy? Virgo, we're in Virgo season, so now everything's grounded because we're not in the Leo season anymore, which was all fiery and like excitement and drama and spectacle and dazzle. Newsflash, loves. And this is like an indicator. And again, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. We are still very much in the high drama, what I call the hot and dramatic, and or the haute couture, hot and dramatic season of things, because not only is the ruler, which is a Virgo, which who's tuning in from last week's live stream? Let me know in the comments. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. Who's the ruler of Virgo? Mercury. Mercury's in Virgo. Mercury's in Leo. So the one driving the ship, the one navigating the ship that we're sailing on in this Virgo new moon, in this Virgo eclipse portal, is in Leo. So there's a ton of Leo energy that's still very fucking active. And then on top of that, we've got Venus in Leo too. So there's a lot of Leo energy that is still very much a part of this energy right now. So it's not, and this is just to show you, it's just like there's so much more to astrology than like, where is the sun? And or where is your sun sign? You know, it's like, yes, the sun is in Virgo, but there's a lot of Leo energy going on. And in particular, the ruler of Virgo right now is in Leo. So there's still, it's like, yeah. Okay. So just something for you to be aware of. And if you're serious about, like, you're not interested in chat GTP, mainstream pop astrology, like I'm talking about studying astrology as an art, as a science, as alchemy, as magic, because back in the day, alchemy, astrology, and magic were not separate entities. They were all, because they are, but meaning they weren't taught. There weren't lineages where, like, for example, if we're going to talk about like the real legit like priestess lineages, which are still around today, they're just not in quite the same way as they were before, but they weren't seen as separate things. They are all the same thing. And that's what I teach. That's what I do inside of my 1-year Star Lab and Studio, formerly known as the apprenticeship. So if you're interested in that and learning about that, going beyond learning things, but embodiment of things, meaning mastery and expression in your lived life and experience, then I am enrolling spots. Send me a private message for applications. You want to be in this space. Fucking amazing. I love this so much. It's my life's work. So I want to talk today now on like this whole hello, what's going on? Conscious man, I love your sharing. So thanks for popping by. So now that I've rambled and I've talked about like all of the relevant things that I've been seeing in the space, I want to talk about like the heart and the meat and the message of today's, which is the 3 Virgo styles, meaning the 3 different, and there are even archetypes that I work with and that I see in my space, because not all Virgos are created equal. Okay, and this is like also speaking to specificity and nuance. Like when you really understand astrology, it's like there's so much more than the sun signs, right? Like not all Virgos are created equal. There's 3 different archetypes and or 3 different styles of the Virgo and or the Virgin energy that I see and that I work with in my space. So are you ready? Are you ready? And so if you are a Virgo, like I'm curious, and so this is going to be relevant, even more relevant, and I spoke about this in last week's love stream. It'll be more relevant to you if you have Virgo placements, but this is just about honoring the energy that we're in, right? Like the energy that we're in is Virgo energy. So even if you don't have a Virgo sun, a Virgo moon, Venus in Virgo, Virgo rising, like it's still the terrain. It's still if we want to talk about it like a weather forecast, it's still the energy and the terrain that we're all collectively traveling in. And so just like any adventure, just like any hero's journey, you want to know, like, what is the terrain? Where are we going? What's coming up next? Where have we just been? Because the more that you understand where you're going, where you're at, where you're coming from, the better you're going to be at navigating and successfully navigating what you're doing, right? So let's drop into Virgo and these 3 different Virgos. So the first Virgo archetype that I see and that I work with, which are the more beginning degrees of Virgo, and I don't know if I actually said this because I'm kind of like rambling, but if you've got Virgo placements, let me know in the comments. So shout out to all the Virgos. Material girl, like I said last week, Virgo is the par excellence or quintessential material girl, a la Madonna. Okay, so early degrees of Virgo is what I call like the archetype and or the style of the goth dollhouse, right? Like they're very connected to what is buried in the earth. So meaning working with your ancestors, things like history, like that's why I call it like Victorian and or Goth, like Goth dealing with death, things that have died, right? And so their style and or their talents, their gifts, what they're interested in is the power of the ancestors, the inheritance of power that comes from ancestral power. And so another name for ancestral power, though, is authority, right? It's like people, the wise elders, people that have come, like your grandparents. I'm getting all of the chill bumps now, but you know, things that last because they're classics, because they've gone through time. Like things that last are a classic for a reason. It's because there is something, it's like the bones, right? Like when you dig up a graveyard, or if you like get in the fucking dirt, what's left but the bones of something? The bones, the essence of something is what lasts. So this is what this Virgo archetype excels at. And what they have a natural affinity and or a talent for is a type of power that is demoralizes people. Like, and they don't even have to try. This is somebody where it's like you come to them and they have this type of authority and or a power that like you don't even want to mess with them. You don't even want to fuck with them because they're connected to like, my fucking ancestors will fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? And or I am aligned with the Most High. What's up? Muslim Hussein, thanks for joining and popping by. They're aligned with something that is untouchable. Okay, yeah. So, and they have like a gift for like a creativity that is sourced from and or drawn from the DNA. And in their style, like literally, like these are people, like I'll give some examples of where you see this. If you've ever seen The Corpse Bride, that's a great example of that. David Lynch is another mug. It's also known as the nakshatra of Magga. The early degrees of Virgo is another one of these natives. You see this with what's Johnny Depp's daughter. What's her name? Lily Rose. Like that look. It's like they look like little dolls, right? It's very Victorian, very goth. They tend to be very much interested in the dark. Like, and what I mean by the dark is not shadow, but the dark feminine, which is about surrender and death. It's about, you know, what we let go of and the death process, you know, the in-between space of one life and another. So, and I could go on and on and on, right, about this, and I quite frequently do in my spaces. So if that's something that you're interested in, send me a private message, let's chat. But for like the purpose of today's love stream, I want to stay on track. That's one particular flavor of Virgo, right? Which is very different from the next one that I want to talk about, which is more of the middle degrees of Virgo. And this is like more of the lover archetype. Like these Virgos are all about marriage. They're all about being they're obsessed with who they're devoted to, you know? And so they also are very refined in the Venusian realm of beauty and artistry and dancing and music, like all of the arts, all of the fine arts. So and you'll see this, like a lot of Victoria's Secret models, you know, that are known for their beauty, that are known for aesthetics, have this placement. So this is another archetype of Virgo that you might think Virgo, oh, earth sign, but actually these Virgos are very, very Venusian. They're super, super, it's almost like they are ruled by Venus herself, you know? So they love to focus and pour their heart and their energy and their soul into their favorite, like whatever it is their favorite in life, whether it's like their husband, their partner, or just whatever, you know, like they really, really love. It's like they're very, very focused on devoting themselves and serving and even worshiping. There's a big aspect of worship, which means like the true definition of worship is to love under will. And so like that's their mode of expression, is being in service and or worshiping their object of affection. And through doing that, and it's also a very sexual, very, very sexual aspect of the Virgo archetype, is this mid degree of Virgo. And yeah, okay. So that's the middle degrees of Virgo. And then the final degrees of Virgo is what I call the Virgo vixen. Okay? This is the vixen archetype. So if the first one was like the goth dollhouse archetype, and the second one was this lover archetype, we'll call the third one the vixen. And this archetype is very independent. Right? Like it's the vixen energy is very, very sexual in nature, but independent. It doesn't mean that they won't be in relationship, but this is like one of the, and there's not a lot of women that have this, and I want to be super, super clear. Like I've written about this, I've shared this many times, where there's a lot of women that talk about, oh, I'm living my best life and everything's going great for me and I'm single, right? But it's like you can see through the BS. It's like, girl, like I know that if you were with a man that treated you like the gold that you are, your first and highest choice would not to be single, right? So, but there are some women that actually really do, like, they fucking come into full form and like they can, right? They can really be independent because they have a lot of their own solar energy that is filling them up because it's part of their nature. Not all women have this. I want to be super clear. Not all women have this. It's rare. So this aspect of Virgo is very independent. They can't, like a vixen is typically known as a femme fatale archetype who, you know, like she loves sex and she loves men and she appreciates men, but she's okay like being at home and living by herself and not like depending upon a man whatsoever. And so this archetype is the vixen archetype, and they have a lot of, like I said, solar energy. So they have a lot of vitality, they have a lot of personal independence, they have a lot of personal fire. What's up? Jenny is in the house. What's up, girl? We're about to wrap up. I've just been jamming about all of the things. So definitely go and watch this from the replay. How are you? I'm so glad that you tuned in on this Friday. Check. I was playing with some different like clown makeup and I didn't quite get it right, but I left to this part, but I got to get a better lip pencil. Hands up, who's got like really excellent lip pencils? But anyway, I took it off. So how are we liking it? Anyhow, okay. So coming back to the vixen archetype, and we're talking about the 3 different Virgo archetypes that I see and that I work with. And this, by the way, this where this eclipse is happening is in the middle degrees. It's about 19 degrees of Virgo, and so that's going to correspond to the second Virgo archetype that I just talked about, the more Venusian one, by the way. So it is going to bring up a lot of eclipses always do anyway. Relationship reevaluations or relationship potential ruptures, shifts, change, and or major breakthroughs, opportunities, quantum leap type experiences. So yeah, so the Virgo archetype, or excuse me, the final Virgo archetype, which is the Vixen archetype, like I said, is very solar, meaning they're almost like a Leo in a lot of ways. Like they're, you know, like they there's a lot, they run a lot more masculine solar energy than the other Virgo archetypes. So that's it for my rant for today. Let me know if you're new to me and my world and my channel, what questions that you have. If you're new, like definitely introduce yourself to me so that I get to know you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And last but not least, I also wanted to remind you guys that there are 3 spots left for my rapid fire Telegram coaching. That is a special, meaning I don't do this all the time. This is very limited time, limited spaces for Telegram coaching with me. It's 4 weeks. Some people are opting to do the whole Eclipse portal for the full 6 weeks, but 4 weeks is 400. And if you want to do 6 weeks, you can do that for 600. And I do have payment plans available. Send me a private message if you know that it's yours and you're ready to step through the ring of fire. You're like, yes, like I'm ready for this. I'm ready to travel through the wormhole. I'm ready for the upgrades. And or if you have other questions and or ways that you'd like to work with me, I am enrolling spots for the STARDISCO Atelier as well. All right, guys. Bye.